Welcome back to the Hit Home Podcast. I'm Natalie Hashka, city girl turned entrepreneur who turned a big dream and a bold house flip into a thriving real estate brand, hitting my first six figures in my 20s. This is where we get raw and real, because life, entrepreneurship, and unapologetic womanhood deserve nothing less. I'm navigating life as a strong, independent woman who refuses to shrink, settle, or conform. And if that's you too, then you're in the right place. From personal growth and pop culture to behind the scenes real estate truths, no topic is off limits. I'm so glad you're here. Get ready for unfiltered stories, big laughs, and connections that will seriously hit home. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome back. Okay, so today I am going to be doing an update, my love life update. And I know a lot of people have been asking me on Instagram about my love life, and a lot of people were shocked when I had put out a story because a lot of people didn't even know that I was dating somebody. So every season I do an update on what's going on in my life, in the dating scene, and here we are today. So let's rewind a little bit here because I guess it goes back quite a bit now. So let's first start off with in December, I had decided to get off Hinge. I was dating somebody, and when I had come back from Mexico, he had actually ended it with me, and I didn't see it coming at all. It was like very out of the blue and kind of hit me in the face. We were not serious by no means, but like there was definitely like something there, or maybe like there could have been something there, if that makes sense. And so, you know, it was like holiday season, everybody's in their feels, and this happens December 1st. And so I'm just like, you know what? It's time to get off Hinge. I had been feeling that way for a while, and I had spoke about in previous seasons that the majority of the time, my account on Hinge was on pause. You know, I would match with somebody, and I was very intentional and specific on the people that I allow to have access to me and that I date and that I want to, you know, get to know and build with. And when I would have a connection with somebody, I would put my account on pause so that I would not get distracted. More people did that, to be honest, because I feel like so many people are talking to so many people at once, and you cannot stay focused and fully get to know one person properly when you have all these distractions in your back pocket, you know? And so I was like so focused, and I was like, you know, talking to my mom, and I'm like, I am definitely going to take a break. I want to take a dating break. I'm so over this right now. I felt like there were slim pickings out there. And I was honestly really proud of myself. I had thrown myself in, and I went really hard at it. And I honestly gave it such a good shot. And I was just like, I just want a break. I just want to like focus on myself again and come back next year with like a fresh outlook and a clear vision. And so that's what I did. I deleted the app. I was super excited. I'm happy I tried online dating, but it was not for me. And I do not think I would ever go back to online dating, to be honest. I feel like you match with like the exact same 10 people on every platform. And even Instagram, I feel like Instagram is a dating app now, like legit. So I just feel like everyone's getting recycled, and it's like very cringe. So, you know, December, I'm like doing my thing, trying to wrap up the end of the year, getting ready for the holidays. And somebody, while I was away, that my sister knew, saw me on her social media. And my sister had brought that to my attention while we were away for her birthday in Mexico. And I obviously was like laser focused, horse blinders with the guy that I was dating. So I didn't entertain it. Like, I didn't care to like look at his photos. I didn't care to get in any information. I was just like shrug my shoulders, like whatevs, cool, cool. So my sister said that he had kept inquiring about me on our trip as she would post content. And, he said that I was beautiful and he asked if I was dating anyone. And when she said yes, he asked if it was serious. And, my sister didn't really know much because I don't really talk to people about my personal life, my private life, and what's going on, especially with the men I date. I'm super private. I keep things low key. And until it's like really serious, I don't share much and I don't introduce my person to people right away. That's just who I am. I don't know. I'm kind of weird that way. It's like I really want to be sure about them before I start introducing them to like my world and my people. And I think that comes from a place of like, I don't want to have to also explain why it didn't work out. And because everybody now is dating so casually, I also don't want people to be like, oh, she's a hoe. She was dating this person and that person. Even though like it never gets serious and you're just in like a talking phase. Like I don't think everybody needs to know your business, you know? So, fast forward, we come back from the trip. I'm now single and available. And I guess this man is still inquiring about me to my family. And next thing I know, he slid into my DMs on Instagram. And I had asked my sister how he found me. And she said, I don't know. Like, I don't know if he went through my followers or blah, blah, blah. Anyways, long story short, she had given him my username. And that's how he got to me. And he was super friendly. He was professional. He was polite. He was respectful. He had reached out and made some small talk, introduced himself, and then ultimately asked me out. I had very respectfully declined, and it had nothing to do with him. Like, I'm just very focused. I'm an Aries. When I set my mind to something, you can't change it. And so I was just doing me at the time. So, I turned him down and I really didn't think anything of it. And I think the thing that I liked about him that stood out from the jump was like, I'm the most consistent person I know, like with every part of my life, not just fitness. And although I turned this man down, like he showed up every day and messaged me. And that consistency and that determination stood out. And so I was like, okay, like there's no like motive here. It was like just like a nice message daily and it was nice. It didn't feel forced or anything. So we talked, this went on for like a while, like a couple weeks. And then he definitely asked me out a couple more times. I don't know how many more, but like I feel like it was about 3 at least in total. He kept like kind of like quietly nudging me. And ready to make a move in the GTHA? Let's make it happen together. I'd love to help you find your perfect place. Not in the area, but still in Canada? No worries. I've got connections coast to coast. Send me a message and I'll point you in the right direction. And if you've been eyeing the things I share on Instagram, treat yourself. All the links to my Shop My page are waiting for you in the show notes below. Go take a peek and grab your faves. Happy shopping. Then our conversations, like his daily text to me, somewhere in that timeline of like the 2-week mark, ended up getting more involved. So conversation would elaborate and we were asking each other questions kind of back and forth. And then it wasn't just like one message a day. We were talking like throughout the day. And there was definitely like a different comfort level on my end with him. And I don't know if I can say like he piqued my interest because like I really like, it was so innocent for me in the beginning. it was just nice conversation. He just seemed really nice and like harmless, you know? So, we had talked about the holidays and like New Year's Eve and all of that. And I had had my plans set, as did he. And so we ultimately met for one reason and one reason only. And I tell him to this day, he is so lucky that we met like this because I honestly would not have said yes to him. And it's nothing against him. I was just so set in taking this dating break. So we both had tickets to an event, the same event. And it turns out that we both knew a mutual, which is so wild. And like our mutual goes way back in both of our lives. So I talked to him leading up to this event, and we both confirmed that we're going. And it's not an event I normally go to. I'm usually not even in the city at this time of the year because I usually go off to the cottage. And I decided to stick around a little bit longer in the city for the holidays than I normally do. So I'm like, okay, I'll see you at this event. Like, I look forward to meeting you, kind of thing. So I tell the people that I'm going with, I'm like, listen, like 1 hour in and out, and I'm leaving. Like, this is not my vibe, blah, blah, blah. Wah. Like, I'm such an old lady. So I go to this event and I run into somebody that I know. And so I'm talking with this other gentleman and we're catching up. He's like never seen me out at an event like this. And, we're just shooting the shit, catching up. And I turn around to go back to the people that I came with. And Mr. Instagram is just standing there looking at me. And I knew it was him. And I remember thinking that he looked different in person. Like, I didn't know he was going to be as tall as he was. But I knew it was him when I turned around. So I walked right up to him and introduced myself. And he had, invited me graciously to hang around with him and his friends that evening and to have a drink on him and all of those things. I don't drink though. And so I just minded my own business, did my own thing that night. And that was it. We didn't say bye. That was it. He left. I was talking with some people. So I was like, maybe he didn't like me. Like, maybe he wasn't attracted to me in person. Like, I don't know. So I get into my car and I can't remember if when I got into my car or if once I got home I did it. But I sent him a message and I just said that it was like really nice meeting him. And I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was like a nice and complimentary message to him. And then he had messaged me back a couple hours later that night. And like the rest is history. We were inseparable from that point. Like when I saw him, I liked the way he dressed. I liked the way he looked. I liked the way he walked. Like his energy, his aura. It was just really nice. And there was like this shyness to him. And he was just so like respectful. And so I was intrigued. I was like absolutely intrigued to get to know him more. So we saw each other the next night and the next night and the next night. And I did not see that coming. Like if you asked me if this was going to happen, nope. Like hell no. And, I didn't really go into it thinking anything would happen. Like, I've told my friends, like, he's not my type typically. And, like, he is, but he isn't. Like, there's things about him that are my type, and then there's things about him that are not my type. And I think it's just because I was so closed off at that time. I think that's why I just wasn't, like, open. Like, my energy wasn't open to meeting or connecting someone at that time. And so, we would hang out and stuff, but, like, I kept my distance. I definitely wasn't like flirting or anything like that. It was just like hanging out with somebody and like talking and getting to know them. And I do have a pattern for this where I kind of like people like look at me like a bro because of the way that I act and talk when I'm dating. And it's never really clear if I like somebody. It's a bit of a flaw of mine. So that's pretty much how this started. So I don't know, maybe like 10 days to 2 weeks in. And I can definitely see like something's changed in him. And he definitely wants more at this point from me. And like I'm still like brakes on, reserved, and all of these things. But like I'm definitely enjoying his company and I still want to hang out with him and all of those things. We're having like deeper conversations, getting to know one another, but we're seeing like a lot of each other. Like in our spare time, we're both wanting to see each other all the time. And so then I'm getting ready now, fast forward. It's like February, and I'm getting ready to go on my girls' trip to Miami with two of my dance friends. And he wants to talk. He wants to talk before I go away and about us and all of these things. And we have a little talk, but it it doesn't really get finished. Like we didn't have a lot of time and I had to get home to get ready to leave and all of these things. So we had plans once I came back from Miami to see each other on Valentine's Day. So we talk while I'm away and I come home. And so I came home 2 days before Valentine's Day and I wasn't supposed to see him until Valentine's Day, but I was talking to him the entire time I was flying home because we had Wi Fi on our plane. And he really wanted to welcome me home and see me. He had missed me and he couldn't wait until Valentine's Day to see me. So he ended up driving through a storm, one of like the worst storms we had. We actually flew home and landed and had to drive home in that storm. And he also did it to come see me, which is so wild when I think back. It's crazy what love makes you do. And so I see him and we then see each other on Valentine's Day. And on Valentine's Day, we weren't going to really do much. It was going to be like low key. And I'm not somebody as bougie as I am. Like, I am so simple and humble, and I'm a homebody. So, like, I don't need to be doing the most all the time, you know? And I was totally fine with just like hanging out at one of our houses and doing something. So he calls me that day from work and he was like, I was thinking this is our first Valentine's Day. We should do something. And I was like, okay. And he was like, so, be ready for this time and wear something similar to what you wore out for dinner before you went to Miami. And I was like, okay. So I would know like the level of dressiness. And so we go out and he plans like such a beautiful and romantic evening and definitely not what I expected. It was way more and I'll definitely never forget it. That evening though, we had a lot of, deeper conversations and ultimately it was on Valentine's Day that he had asked me to be exclusive and committed and it just be us. And so here we are, months later and still going strong. And it's crazy because we both came into each other's lives when we were least expecting it. And it's worked. Like it's worked out really, really well so far. So, he and I have approached this relationship very differently from our previous relationships. And we both were in long-term relationships and have history. So, we know what we're looking for. We know what we don't want. We both know what we would do differently now that we have like a second chance at love. We're in our 40s, which is also different. You know, we're grown. And he was looking for endgame. Like he was looking for a specific woman. I don't want to say like looking for a wife, but like he was looking for endgame. I was okay with like Mr. Right Now didn't have to be Mr. Right. Like I didn't have to find my soulmate or my husband per se because I had been single for so long. I was fine testing the waters and dating to figure out what I wanted, what I liked, what I didn't like. Where he definitely has more experience than me in dating in general. So he was looking for endgame. And so we've approached this relationship, I think, really maturely. And the one thing that we decided to do was have open communication. And I know some of my friends think this is really crazy, but like we've decided to be full transparent. Like I'm talking about things that you probably don't want to know, but we're not holding anything back. And we both have trust issues, so we want to be fully transparent. And we want to have those difficult conversations so that we can come back stronger as a couple once we've had those difficult conversations. I love that he's an alpha male because I'm so alpha. And I always joke, I always say, you know, I'm not even type A personality. I'm type AAA, like hockey. And I definitely look to a man to lead. I believe in traditional roles and I want to be submissive to a man, but it takes a certain kind of man for me to feel comfortable to be submissive to. Like, I have to respect you and trust you as my man to lead, you know? And I've always said this, I make enough decisions in my day as an entrepreneur. I don't need to be making more decisions in my relationships. Like, I love if my man can lead, and I don't want to say like set the tone for the relationship, but I love having a man of the house, if that makes sense. You know, like I can be the head of my business, but when it comes to the house, my man is the head of my house. And I like that in traditional roles. So, something that he and I decided to do was build our relationship or our connection quietly. So, some of the ground rules that he and I put into place early on were like, we're not going to show pictures of each other. We're not going to show identity. We're not tagging each other. And we're doing this really quietly. So, for 6 weeks, not even my friends knew about him. I was actually out at a restaurant with some people, and my phone was facing up at dinner, and he called me, and one of them saw his name on the phone, but all of them stopped and gave me side eye when they could hear me talking to him because they knew what was up. And as soon as I hung up that call, they were like, who the hell was that, Nat? And a select few people at that table found out inadvertently about him that evening. Not that I wanted them to know, but I wasn't about to lie to these people. And so I had just decided that I didn't really want any of my friends' opinions on this situation or him. And I wanted to be really quiet, not just publicly, but like even in my private life, I wanted to be really quiet about this. And we are both huge believers of like cutting the noise in the beginning of a relationship. You have to cut the noise. And I feel like so many people don't want to see other people happy. I think if you're of a certain status, or if you're like a power couple, or if you're doing slightly well in life, people really don't want to see you being happy. And so we just decided to cut the noise so that it would just be him and I in these few early months as we get to cherish this time together and get to know one another. And, you know, we even decided to not overly share details of our relationship, even with our closest and best friends. We were just like, people don't need to know the intimate details of our relationship. And I love this for us. Like, there are things I'm willing to share, and there's things I just don't want to share. So far at this point, building this foundation privately early on so that like nobody can destroy it, and really cherishing these early moments as like a new couple, these new moments and this time that you cannot get back as a new couple is just like very beautiful and intimate right now for us. And we're both looking for that person that we can legitimately do like everything with and legit be our best friend. And I love that for us because not everybody wants that in a partner. We're definitely like at a point right now where we're at in our relationship that we have a clear vision and we're getting like crystal clear on that vision for like what this relationship looks like long term, and we're setting expectations. Like we have been setting expectations from the beginning, like what we both will and will not tolerate. And I also loved that because like it's like a manual, right? Like that you're going to have growing pains and these like speed bumps. Is it speed bumps or speed humps? I don't know which one it is, but you're going to have them is my point. And I just think it's good if like you talk about them before they come so that you're not like, what the fuck? Now something's come up and like, what do we do? Like, let's talk worst case scenario here, right? In the beginning, let's talk about finances and prenups and housing and children and vacations and income and politics and religion and what happens if this happens? Like having those conversations, like, you're sexually active with someone and like, what happens if we get pregnant? Like talk about those things, because like it does happen. And so I feel like the way we've done it so far is so mature. And I just love that there's no questioning anything with us. The things that we're talking about is like family and getting married, buying real estate together or like building a home together where we live together, investing together, doing business together. Like we want to leave a legacy as a power couple. However that is for us, that's something we want to do together, right? So like we're both very strong individually, but two is better than one. And so it's this really cool dynamic to be able to forward think what we can be together and what we can achieve together now, and not just individually based on where we have gotten or where we're at in our own individual and personal lives. Help us spread the love one home at a time. And if you enjoyed this episode, please rate, review, and share the podcast. It means so much and it might just make someone else's day. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you want to keep in touch, come say hi on Instagram @TheRealNat. Everybody that has met him and everyone who has met me on his side, they all say the same thing. They all say that we balance each other, which I think is really cool. And I do think we balance each other. And I feel like we're bringing out different parts of each other in our worlds and in our personalities. Like we're so similar and then we're so different in certain parts. But I feel like I balance him in certain areas and he balances me. And he's taking me out of my comfort zone and I'm making him have boundaries. It's like he's loosening me up because I'm so rigid and I'm trying to make him have more boundaries and, not be so available. And I love that. I love that, but for both of us. And, going back to how I said earlier that, he's not typically what I go for. Like everybody says we look great together when they see us. I think like our style meshes really well, like aesthetically speaking. But, I don't know. Like, I feel like people don't expect me to be with the men that I'm with. Let's just say that in general. I don't know what people expect of me, but anytime they have met someone I've dated, they were like one of two ways. That's what I expected, or, oh, I didn't expect that, I do have a type. I definitely have a type personality-wise too, though. It's not just like physical for me. And so yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I don't really care what people think, though, for me. Like, I'm not looking for anyone's approval of my partner. As long as I'm happy and they make me happy and they make me feel a certain way and I love them, then that's all that matters to me. Because at the end of the day, it's him and I. It's nobody else. It is him and I and what we're creating behind closed doors, you know? But I love so much about him. I love how he makes me feel. I love how he treats me. He's such a gentleman. I love that he knows what I like and he doesn't have to ask me. Like, he takes initiative all the time. He plans our dates. He makes the reservation. He surprises me all the time. I just love that. Like, I love that he just looks at me and is like, this is where I know she'd want to eat brunch. And this is where I know she'd want her dinner. And, this is where I want to take her. And, like, every date's been amazing. And, like, I don't know if he's doing these things because he knows that's what I'll like, or maybe he just does these things because it's what he likes and we both like them and we're both enjoying them, right? But regardless, I just love a man that can take like initiative and that can plan and execute, and it's like such a solid date. And being surprised is so nice. I just feel like being courted, people don't court anymore. And so it's so nice when someone shows up with like flowers for no reason. It's just like a normal day of the week. And you just show up with flowers and I'm in sweatpants, you know? Or you just like call me for no reason. It's just really beautiful. So, for me, it's just, we both said it early on. It's like feeling safe and secure. And I think we both feel safe and secure in this relationship. And that's something that we both haven't felt in a really long time. We're both tied in faith, which I love. Like, I wanted a godly man. That's really important to me. And we're both looking for that connection to get us grounded and to have like a higher purpose spiritually for this union, so that when times get tough, because like shit's gonna get tough. Relationships are not easy. So we're expecting this to come. Like, we're well aware, and we've already gone through a few things actually. We went out with his friends recently, and that was a question that they asked, like, have you guys already been tested? Have you been challenged? And we were like, oh yeah. And he was like, and did you come out on the other end? And we were like, yeah, we came out on the other end. But we have absolutely been tested quite a few times in this relationship, and like early on. So having this like connection through faith in God and having this spiritual connection that binds our union, where we both believe together, I think is so beautiful. Because, darkness is going to knock on our door. It's going to knock on your door. It's going to knock on everybody's door. We are in the devil's playground. And so being tempted is every day of your life. I don't care how you look at it. So, hoping that keeps this union really strong for us. We went to church and it was so special. We had no clue this was coming. 2 separate groups from the church led us in this like special blessing and prayer ceremony. And it was so, so beautiful. And it was such an emotional day. I stayed off social media that whole day. It was so, so amazing. We did church, we had brunch. It was just so beautiful. And it was like exactly what we needed at the exact right time. And we both didn't even know we needed it. We were just going to church. And we got this like special prayer and blessing twice. And it was so beautiful, the things that they said, honoring this new relationship and, the testament to one another under God's roof. And I just felt like we were so, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I felt so connected to him in that day. And I was like, this is what we needed. Like, this was the next step in our relationship to feel like we can move forward in the next phase and to have that belief in this relationship and what we're building together, And I've always said this, and I've talked about this before, like, couples who pray together and sleep together stay together. I'm huge on going to bed together, and I'm huge on people who pray together. And like, we pray before we eat. He prays before we go to bed. He thanks God for me routinely, which I think is the sweetest thing ever. And like, for God for blessing him with me in his life. And I've always said, and it was something that I felt lacked in my previous relationship, was that I went to bed earlier and he went to bed later. And so there was like this disconnect at nighttime, like There was no intimate moment, and I'm not even talking about sex. Like, I'm talking about just being with your partner in bed, like skin to skin, snuggling, talking, a kiss before bed, having that closeness. Like, there's something that says all you need is 6 minutes with your partner to feel that closeness and intimacy. And I so believe in that. So at this point, we're doing our best to pray together and to sleep together when we have sleepovers. We're not living together at the point of recording this. But when we do have sleepovers at either of our homes, like, we are going to bed together. And I think that's really special. We're not waking up together because I wake up at the crack of dawn at like 4:30 to 5 in the morning, and he wakes up like a normal person at a normal time, but we are at least going to bed together. And I just believe intimacy is closeness again. And for myself, this is the most intimate and vulnerable I've ever been with a man. I was with a man for 15 years, and I never had this level of intimacy with him at all. The conversations, the stripping down, being in our natural element, spending so much time from the early phase of our relationship, like hanging out, cooking together, cleaning together, no makeup, unshowered, sweatpants, roughhousing. I can't even explain it. It is a totally different level of intimacy and vulnerability, and I love it. I really hope that it works out for us. I'm going to wrap this episode up here. And I just want to say, like, I've always been afraid to get into another relationship. I was with someone for 15 years, and starting over is hard. And I really wasn't sure if it was in the books for me that I would find somebody again. I'm super particular. I was single for 7 years. There was no one I had met that I wanted to be committed to or exclusive with, that I felt like had the qualities I could build with. And so I had kind of accepted that, like, maybe this was my life. Maybe I'm just like the entrepreneur and the single auntie who travels and has a huge group of friends. I've never felt lonely or alone. I love my life, love my friends, love my family, love my career. I have felt so fulfilled. And I think that's a huge reason why I never felt like I needed a partner and why I wasn't settling, to be honest. And so for me, I was afraid for numerous reasons to get into a relationship. I also tend to lose myself in relationships, and I didn't want to lose myself being the power bitch that I am and like the person that I have become in my 40s. I was like, I like you. I don't want to lose this person now. I also found a pattern when I was in therapy that I attract narcissists, being an empath. And narcissists create a lot of conflict. As an empath, you try to fix narcissists. It's this like fucked up situation and relationship internally. And like, I don't like confrontation. And honestly, I'm at a point in my life where like, I need someone to give to me. I can't always give to somebody else as an empath. And I don't want to fix people anymore. I just want someone to come in their healed and beautiful state and be ready to give love and receive love and meet me halfway where I'm at, because I've done the fucking work. I've put in the time, and I feel like I have so much to offer someone, and I just want someone to meet me halfway, So I think I'm going to wrap the episode up here. I wanted to share our love story with respecting him and the private details of our relationship. So I hope that I've done a good job, and I hope that I've kind of answered some of the questions that y'all have had on Instagram. I know everybody's waiting for like a full face reveal. All of you are so nosy and want to know what's going on, and that may never happen. Like at this point, I have no interest in showing his face. Maybe I will in the future. We'll see where we're at. I don't know. But at this point, honestly, like, I'm totally fine with keeping it private. So I'm just going to say, to end this off, that, baby, I met you at a time when I was on a dating break, and I'm so obsessed with you. And I don't know where this is going, and I don't have a crystal ball, just like in real estate, to know how it's going to end up. But I am going to constantly work on this. And if it's meant to be, we know it's in God's hands. So I love you. And I hope you guys enjoyed our love story. But until next time, you're here with Real Nat. Bye, guys. That's a wrap. Consider this episode officially tied with a bow. Thanks for hanging out today as we got real, raw, and unfiltered about life, womanhood, and everything in between. If this episode hit home for you, tap those stars, subscribe, and make sure you don't miss the next one. Remember, we're here for real conversations and raw connections. So don't stop here. Come find me on Instagram at @TheRealNat and say, hey, loved this episode? Share it and tag me. I love seeing what resonates with you, and it helps me keep the free content coming. Until next time, on the podcast that always feels like home.